Going for two, kickers are extra, I give them the boot. Ooh, going for two, sit back, relax while I grab me a brew. Ooh, now I'm reclining while putting my time and I'm ready to go. My spine is aligning and much my lineups, my bank account grow. I am so rich, but knowledge is all that I'm leaving it with. Ooh, listen to this, multiple options, how far can I get? Ooh, DFS Dynasty redraft tonight, I'm not finishing last. I'm finishing past any and all, I am looking to last. What else? This spot is popping and I am so locked in and only opening the door when it is opportunity knocking. And all of these spots keep on talking and talking. So what are we talking? What kind of alignment? And running it deep, even players forgotten or came from the bottom or hitting that top. And this spot is popping, yeah, this spot is popping. And woo! This is the armchair, yeah. Put up your arms, yeah. Sound the alarm, yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo!
What is going on, guys, and welcome to episode 279 of the Armchair Fantasy Show. I'm your host, of course, Jeff Lambert. You can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. We are live, of course, every Wednesday and Friday night on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. And then, of course, we're also at all major podcast networks. I'm here, as always, with my co-host, Mr. Ryan Searfoss, with some audio issues tonight. Hopefully, we'll get those fixed. Ryan, how you doing?
Once those are over, I'm good, man. I'm excited for Bruce to be here and talk some football and move to a new week of winning coming back.
It's crazy that it's already week 3. It seems like we just started week 1 just yesterday.
It's going to be over and I'm going to be sad before we know it.
Yep, that's exactly right. All right, as Ryan alluded to here, we got Coach Bruce here tonight, content creator at YardsPer, and he's also the host of the Coach Approach podcast. You can follow him on Twitter at Coach Bruce122. What's up, Bruce?
Man, living the dream, man. Happy to jump on with you guys, man. It feels like it's been way too long, so looking forward to hitting it up with you guys.
Agreed. So for those that don't know you out there, give them a quick rundown of what you do in the fantasy space here.
Yeah, so a few things. So obviously I did Project 32. I think that's anybody that's on Twitter understands what that is. It was a full team breakdown of all 32 teams. We rolled out one team every day for 32 days and broke down everything on the offensive side of the ball, from the offensive line to the running back room, quarterback room, wide receiver room, tight end room, and then talked about coaching and scheme. And so that was nice. We tied every single one of those into a My Cause, My Cleats charity, which is really cool. So we got some Austin Eckler had a retweet on that, which I thought was pretty cool. So nice. Of course we donated to that cause. But and the other thing is, over at YardsPer, doing some content for those guys, and I was doing some rankings over at Fantasy Pros. I'm a little behind. I got to get caught back up on that and get my rankings out. But, hey, it is what it is. So super busy traveling right now, so trying to get caught up.
Good stuff. Yeah, speaking of getting caught up, last week I had a little snafu with my Fantasy Pro rankings, too. I was in D.C. at a museum and didn't really think about that I wouldn't have any connection there. So all these guys are getting ruled out, and they're all in my rankings now. So yeah. I got screwed last week. All those guys that got ruled out, I ended up having them ranked. So, oh, well. Live and learn. All right, let's go ahead and get to our new segment. If you haven't seen this segment yet, we call it Bleep You Wednesday. Let's go ahead and hit the drop.
Hey, you know what? Fuck you.
All right. I guess your dog didn't like that one, right?
Yeah, he just came up and with rage. Lay down, dude.
It's like,
dude, he did not like that drop. Huh?
He's like, what are you doing right now?
Dude, he got his pre-show bone and everything. It's one of them nights. I can just sense it.
All right, Bruce, give us your Bleep You Wednesday this week.
So, man, this is going to be tough for me, but as a diehard Cowboys fan, but I'm going to go back circa 1996, but I'm going to go back a little bit further than that, because Jerry Jones, I bleep you, man. I'll never forgive Jerry Jones for getting rid of Jimmy Johnson and allowing Barry Switzer to win a Super Bowl with Jimmy Johnson's guys. And here we are all these years later. And since Jimmy Johnson, we've had Barry Switzer, Chan Gailey, Dave Campo, Bill Parcells, Wade Phillips, Jason Garrett, and the beautiful Mike McCarthy, right? And how many years in a row without going to an NFC championship game? And how many times have we got knocked out in the first round because we weren't prepared? So it's like you get all these great pieces, right? The one thing they've done is draft well. They don't do enough in free agency, in my opinion, and they're paying the price this year. But you get all this talent, and then you can't get a coach that can bring all that talent together to win football games when they really matter. So for me, it's as much as I love Jerry Jones and from the sense of how he can make money and the branding, I wish he cared about winning as much as he did about the money.
Yeah,
So for me, it's got to be Jerry Jones, man.
that's a good one. That's like a 30-year bleep you right there.
That's 27 years of let's win some freaking games when it matters, right there.
I like it. Ryan, what you got for your bleep you? I think we just lost Ryan again.
I think he was bleeping us right there, man. What's
probably bleep you to my internet right now, but God damn.
I think you're good now, Ryan. We can hear you.
Yeah, I think you're good.
Hear me out. Yeah, other than bleep you to my internet, I want to say bleep you to everybody who is free-lapping 0 RB right now because
Yes.
in fantasy are wide receivers. That's not how it works. It's because it's not they're doing well because it's and that's why people take running backs early, not because they're expecting to come. It's not what you're doing the wrong things.
Yeah, Ryan, you're still breaking up. So I give my bleep you if you want to go out and come back in, see if we can get that internet fixed.
I have faith in you, Ryan.
All right, my bleep you goes to the entire Colts coaching staff.
Oh, that's a good
How do
one.
you give Jonathan Taylor 9 carries in a game? I get it, they were down, but they weren't down the whole entire game. Like they didn't give him enough carries in the first half. I mean, it just killed all my lineups that had Jonathan Taylor in, all my best balls, all of them. 9 carries is ridiculous. To me, you have the best running back in the NFL. Even if you're down 10-0, 12-0, 14-0, you're still giving him the ball somehow, some way, get the ball in his hands. I don't know how you could go through an entire game with only 9 carries to Jonathan Taylor. So, Colts coaching staff, bleep you.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
think I'm
Ryan.
good now.
A good one.
I switched internet things, but I don't know where I was with that. But yeah, it's your RB things. It's not worth it, man.
Yeah.
You're locked in now, man. We can hear you good.
I'm locked in. I'm just that just like increased my rage about it. Like let's stop.
All right, let's get into some good stuff here. News and notes.
News and notes from around the league.
News and notes, as always, brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. It's single game, single week best ball leagues. If you love fantasy football, nothing better than weekly best ball leagues like Underdog offers. No need to wait until the end of the season to see if you won. You have a chance to win every week. Download the Underdog Fantasy app for iOS or Android. Use our promo code GF2 and get a deposit match up to $100. That's pretty simple right there, guys. You just deposit 50, you get 50. Deposit 100, you get an extra 100. So definitely pretty easy there with our promo code GF2. Underdog is one of the fastest growing fantasy sport platforms on the market, and there's a reason for that. So all the hype is about. Download the app, use promo code GF2, and start winning. All right, we got a couple news and notes here to talk about. First one here was a signing that normally probably would kind of go under the radar, but with all the injuries this team has, it actually might be fantasy worthy. And we'll go to you first, Ryan, on this Cole Beasley signing by the Bucs here. Interested at all in Cole Beasley here with all those injuries they have and the suspension of Mike Evans too?
Yeah, I mean, I went and got him in free agency and spent some fat on him. I'm not really excited about it though, because Julio supposedly might be back this week. Is he that different than some of the other rotational pieces in there, like Scotty Miller, et cetera, et cetera? And by the time he catches up to the playbook and all that, is Godwin going to be back? We obviously know Evans is going to be back. Like, it's a short-term solution. It might be like a sign and try to flip for a 5th in your dynasty, or sign and flip now, but it's just kind of a short-term answer that might not even come to fruition yet. And hopefully you're not that injured where you're worried about it.
Yeah. What about you, Bruce? What are your thoughts on Beasley here?
I feel like this is a Tom Brady, bring me a Danny Amendola, Wes Welker type guy. I mean, I think Cole Beasley, he's a 33-year-old veteran, last 3 years, over 100 targets, 2 years in a row with 80 grabs. We know what he can do in the short to intermediate part of the field, so it's not surprising with Godwin, dealing with the hamstring, Evans suspension, and then Julio Jones with the knee. We'll see where we're at there. But when you're going to run out Russell Gage, Brashad Perriman, and Scotty Miller as your wide receiver group on a team that targets the wide receiver position 72% of the time, I get why they make the move. It's not an exciting move. It's not a sexy move. But like Ryan, I think you pick up Cole Beasley in deeper leagues if you can get him on your waiver wire for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. Because, I mean, even if Godwin comes back, who knows how long he's there before he gets hurt again, possibly. And Beasley, we've seen, is a good player in the slot, and that's where Tom Brady tends to look a lot. So if Beasley's in the slot, he's going to get targets. So he's worth an ad in deep leagues for sure. All right, I want to talk about Jalen Hurts a little bit here. He had a monster game this past Monday night, 333 yards through the air, a touchdown. And then he ran for, I forget how much it was, but he had at least one touchdown, maybe even two touchdowns on the ground. So I want to go to you, Bruce, on this one. Through 2 weeks here, Hurts looks like he's a world beater. Do you think he can keep that pace up?
Well, the pace is about 4,900 yards passing and 1,200 yards rushing, which would be obviously never done. So I think the pace will be difficult to keep up. But as a Cowboys fan, it hurts. I know as part of Project 32, I picked the Eagles to win the NFC East. I picked the Eagles to be in the NFC Championship game. But the way that Jalen Hurts is playing right now, the one knock was what's he going to do in the passing game? Can he take that next step? And here he is completing 70% of his passes through the first 2 weeks. I mean, the guy's just completely dialed in. I love how they're using A.J. Brown in the screen game and the short to intermediate, allowing him to run after the catch. And they finally got Devontae Smith involved a little bit this last week. And Dallas Goedert, I think you look at a tight end, you say, hey, if he's a third option, does Goddard's value go down a little bit? But they found a way to get him involved as well. So for me, it's I hate to say it, man, but it's like fly Eagles fly as much as I hate it. But that team, it's only 2 games, so I always want to pump the brakes a little bit. But what Jalen Hurts is doing, even if you look at his numbers on Player Profiler and what he's doing from an efficiency perspective, the guy's absolutely dialed in. So it's been very impressive. I watch the Eagles every week because they're in the same division, right? And that's supposed to be who the Cowboys are supposed to be fighting with NFC East division. He's a fun player to watch, so I'm excited about what he's doing.
Yeah, the big thing for me is after week 1, he targeted A.J. Brown relentlessly. I don't think Devontae Smith even caught a pass in that game, and I was kind of like, well, let's see if he can get the other guys involved. Is it going to be just A.J. Brown? And then in week 2, he goes and gets Devontae Smith some targets. He gets, like you mentioned, Goddard. Even Quez Watkins got in on the mix. So he's spreading it around in addition to being super accurate. He looks dangerous. I mean, I think even last year, I think he had more QB1 finishes than any other quarterback last year, mostly with his legs. So if he's doing legs and will pass the way he's passing right now, we're looking at a guy that's going to be, a fancy MVP type of player. Ryan, what are your thoughts on Jalen Hurts?
Well, I think a lot of people need to apologize for how bad they talked about him all off season. He went last year and performed well. Like you said, he had all those top performances with literally a rotating bag of trash wide receivers. Devonta Smith played barely any games. They rotated with who was his top receiver last year? Was it
I don't even remember.
It wasn't
Isn't that
Dortch,
funny? All three of us, we can't remember who it was last year.
It wasn't Dortch, was it? Who's doing a lot of this shit?
No,
Greg Ward. It was
Greg Ward.
Greg Ward was.
That's why we couldn't remember.
Yeah, he played well, and now you have Devontae Smith who's healthy, A.J. Brown who's a full-blown superstar, and him growing as a passer because essentially last year was his rookie year because he never started before in the NFL. He's growing, and he's going to be a top 5 fantasy quarterback now. Yep. The way he's playing, that little worry you had about him not having that job next year, which was the biggest concern, is going to be gone. He's playing a full-blown star.
An unbelievable roster, and they're doing it on both sides of the ball. They're doing it in the trenches, building inside out. I love what they're doing.
They're doing it. They're building a really good team.
Yeah, they are.
Yep. Yeah, there was one pass on Monday night that it wasn't completed, but it was a hell of a pass. It was to Goddard, and it was over the linebacker in front of the safety between 2 other, and the cornerback was there too. 3 guys in the area. They showed it on the teleprompter, and I mean, it was a beautiful pass. I don't know how the hell he got it in there. Unfortunately, Goddard couldn't hold on to it, but I mean, it was perfectly placed. If he can do stuff like that, combined with his legs, I mean, this is wheels up for this kid for sure. All right, I want to go from a good performance to a shitty performance from an entire team, really. Justin Fields had only 11 passes in this last game. Darnell Mooney, I think, had negative receiving yards. Cole Kmet has been pretty brutal through these first 2 weeks. So if you had purchased any of these Chicago pieces, these are the 3 main guys that you would have had on your team. How worried are you about these 3 guys, Bruce?
I'm extremely worried. And I think you look at what Darnell Mooney did last year, and I was not a Matt Nagy guy at all with that hire. I think he's a great offensive coordinator, but not a great head coach. And I think that kind of ended up playing out. But just what they're doing from a schematic standpoint in Chicago, I don't get it. I mean, you felt like going this year, that's why Cole Kmet's value rose and Darnell Mooney's value rose. Like, you're not going to go to Byron Pringle. You're not going to go to Velus Jones, who's old enough to be an insurance sales guy at this point. But
Whoa, why you gotta pick on the insurance guys, man?
my bad, man, my bad. But that's like with the Chicago offense. You're like, okay, you moved on from Matt Nagy, who had an offense based for Andy Dalton, and I don't think it was Justin Fields wasn't ready for the NFL last year. I think it was Matt Nagy who wasn't ready to run an offense with Justin Fields. And when Dalton got hurt, he was forced to do that. Now you look at this year, new coaching team, and you think, hey, we're going to make some progressions here. And I felt like Mooney and Kmet would pay off. I was completely wrong on Kmet to this point, but I'm also did not foresee the numbers with Justin Fields being as bad as they are. I mean, 191 yards and 2 touchdowns and 2 picks through 2 games. He's only got 6 first down completions.
Yeah, it's funny because I fell asleep during that game, right? In the second quarter, I fell asleep. I woke up the next morning and I looked at my ESPN app and I saw Justin Fields' stat line, 7 for 11 for 70 yards. And I kept hitting refresh, thinking that it hadn't updated from when I was watching the game the night before. But that was his finishing stats. I was like, oh my God.
You probably did that first season stats for one game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's crazy too is like Luke Etsy calls it's 4th and 1, right? 4th and inches. And he calls a shot, which I hate and we ran shotgun exclusively in high school and college. But what's crazy is you run a shotgun formation with a running style quarterback on 4th and inches, right? And you end up running, you don't run David Montgomery, who's got 122 yards in that game. You run a QB sneak right to the heart of the defense. That to me was like the Bears season in a nutshell right there. I'm like, that's an indication of where the season's probably going.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of insurance salesmen, Ryan, I'm gonna go to you to get your thoughts on on the Bears here. But I don't think you were buying any of these guys. But what are your thoughts on these guys?
No, I was fully against it. But dude, if I got him, I'd be upset. Like, other than unfortunately David Montgomery, who I think was the least sexy pick of the Bears players, it's a train wreck, man. And I don't see how they're going to turn it around quickly. It's going to take something big or something to click. And by that time, you're going to be finding these guys in the waiver wires. I hold a little hope for Darnell Mooney still. But
wide hard, receiver, man. 126. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Dude, like, I don't – it's bad. I don't know what you do with this team.
And here's what's funny.
You think they should –
Cole Kmet's tied in 72 and doesn't even have any catches. Like, how does that work?
Wow, he has 0 catches? I didn't know he had 0
Yeah,
catches.
he has 0 catches. He's
no
a
catches
non-functioning member of society.
Wow. And he had like 94 targets last year. Like, how do you go from that to what he's doing now? It's insane to me.
And he had a high snap count, too. It's not like he wasn't on the field.
Yeah, I mean,
82.5% snap share.
Yeah.
He's on the field. That's crazy.
It's just this team doesn't know what they're doing. They're running in place right now.
Yeah, brutal. All right, let's go to – I didn't know you were a Cowboys fan, Bruce. So this last note here, I'm going to go to you on Noah Brown here. 5 for 5, 91 yards and a touchdown last game. Had a pretty good week 1 as well once Cooper Rush got in there. Is this someone we can trust the rest of the season? I mean, he's been there for a while. He kind of knows the offense pretty well, right?
Well, I think that's what's crazy, right? I mean, he's almost at his career high in his 5th year, and he's only 2 games in. I mean, his career high is 25 targets, 16 grabs, 180 yards in a season. He just got his first touchdown in year 5, game 2 of year 5. But this is where you look at practice squad and second and third team reps. So you've had Cooper Rush and Noah Brown really, in essence, practicing together for the length of their careers respectively. And so it's not uncommon for a quarterback to focus on a guy he's used to in practice, that he's thrown routes to. He understands where he's going to be. But he's 6'2", 220. He does well against contested catches. He's not a great separator, so you kind of got to fit the ball in. But schematically, I felt, here's what's crazy. Why are you not running the same offense when Dak Prescott's in there?
Right.
Like, you finally relied on the run a little bit after Zeke only had 10 carries in week 1. You finally run the ball a little bit, so it establishes a little bit more play action. And now we see what the Cowboys are doing. It's extremely frustrating, but I think he benefits from that relationship with Cooper Rush over the last 4 years that they've both been there together.
Good stuff. Ryan, we have a question in the chat here, and it's based on this Brown thing here. So Gallup's coming back here pretty soon. How much do you think that affects Noah Brown?
I mean, everything you said about them like growing together kind of made me a little shaky on it. But Gallup's still that talent, man. Like, that's talent over chemistry and what they know. He's a good football player. I think it hits him pretty hard because that moves him to what, 3rd or 4th, or should be 3rd or 4th in targets on that team. So I think that kind of hits it. Yeah, because
4 if you have Schultz on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's who I was going to say 4 with Schultz, get Gallup and obviously CeeDee Lamb. So I think that's a big hit for him. And the way this offense is going, I don't know if that's really you want the fourth piece of that offense.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Gallup coming back, Bruce? And then, of course, you got Tolbert there, too. That was just mentioned in the chat as well.
Well, I think what's crazy, you draft Jalen Tolbert with decent draft capital, and the guy has been a healthy scratch for 2 weeks in a row. After having what people felt like was a pretty good, early season camp, and he didn't do a ton in the preseason, but you felt like there was going to be an opportunity there. And the fact they're going with Dennis Houston over Jalen Tolbert in the first couple of weeks was crazy. And then now you've got Noah Brown. But I'm like Ryan, I don't think Noah Brown has a big role in this offense throughout the rest of the season once Gallup is back. I think Gallup's a dude. I'm hoping that Jalen Tolbert comes back, but I just don't have a lot of excitement right now with what we're doing from a schematic standpoint with Kellen Moore. That I love Michael Gallup's talent, absolutely love his talent, and I think if CeeDee Lamb can continue to earn targets and convert those to more catches, I think you finally have Gallup as a guy that can stretch the field a little bit and be a 50-50 contested catch guy that CeeDee Lamb just doesn't do well at this point.
Good stuff. All right, let's get to Factor Cap.
And now it's Fact or Cap.
All right, Factor Cap. If you've never played this before, fact obviously means fact. Cap means it's false, not true, or you don't believe it. And we'll just kind of go back and forth here. Bruce, this one's for you. He's been kind of the darling lately. Mr. Amon-Ra St. Brown will finish the season as a top 15 wide receiver. He's currently number 3 right now in PPR. What are your thoughts on Mr. Amon-Ra St. Brown?
So I think this goes to the Detroit Lions in terms of what their game scripts are probably going to look like. Unfortunately, the defense is as bad as the offense is good, in my opinion. So I think the Lions are going to have to throw the football around it. I think what's interesting is based on the current skill set of players that they have, the skill positions, you're going to have DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra St. Brown kind of leading that receiving group. And then we'll see what we get with Jameson Williams, who I think is a great talent when he's ready to go. But I think he finishes. I think it's fact. I think he finishes in the top 15. I think just based off, 7 straight games with 10 or more targets. I mean, I don't see that changing. Jared Goff is playing really well right now. I don't see how he finishes outside the top 15 based on current roster structure and where I think the game scripts are going to go.
Yeah, I think I caught 8 passes in his last 8 games or something, or 7 games, and I think only has done that before. So, I mean, that's a pretty good list to be on. And, Jared Goff seems to like him. I know last year the narrative was, Hockenson was hurt, Swift was hurt. Well, they're there, and he's still doing it. So I think I'm with you. I think he's going to finish top 15, if not top 12, top 10, with the way he's playing right now.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, this one's for you. Russell Wilson finishes the season outside of the top 15 QBs. He's currently ranked 18.
I think that's Cap. Yes, he's absolutely struggling, but we're looking at a brand new offense, 0 preseason. He has, and the 0 preseason for everybody on that offense. So he has to get used to the players, NFL speed in that new system. There's a lot to go, and it could be a slow start. It might not be until week 4 or 5, but Russ will get there. We've seen the talent. Plus, once you get that middling term of quarterbacks outside of maybe the top 11, it could be anybody's game. We've seen Kirk Cousins struggle. Aaron Rodgers has struggled. Wentz is hit. We're talking, he's in there with Wentz and Winston. And it's just 15. He should be there. It's just patience.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think top 15 is probably where I'd have him as well. He'll definitely get his bearings in there. Got some good weapons in that offense as well. I just think it's right now.
He can be a low end QB1.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we just jumped the gun when they were talking about top 8 because look at those weapons; they should be much better.
Yeah, agreed.
I agree.
All right, Bruce. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill both finish as top 12 wide receivers. Factor Cap.
I've got this as I think it's Cap. I think it's tough for them to continue doing what they're doing. And you look at Waddle in week 1, 5 targets, 4 grabs for 69 yards. And of course, last week he gets 19 targets and 11 grabs. I think that's what you're going to see with Jalen Waddle. I love his talent. Again, it's Tua Tagovailoa. It's we're going to see what this offense looks like. I do like what the head coach is doing with Mike McDaniel, but I think we've got some ways to go still before I'm ready to make that. Now, you asked me that again in week 7, week 8. We're more games in. I might change my tune, but they've got a real tough matchup this week. So I think Tyreek Hill, certainly is a top 5 potential there. I think Jalen Waddle's the guy that, is he going to finish within that top 12 or not? But man, what a great game last week between the Ravens and Dolphins, man. That was so much fun to watch. But
It was
yeah,
not
I
fun
think
to watch. It was
that's.
not fun to watch.
Oh, you're a Ravens guy?
He's a
I had,
Ravens.
I had zero fun. Well,
Yeah.
it was awesome till the end.
Unbelievable game though, man.
It was, and it was so fun for most of it, and then just sadness kicked in.
Yeah,
It's the first time I've quit watching football that early in a long time. Like I didn't
Yeah.
watch any afternoon games after that. I was just so bitter.
Yeah, when I
I
was
think
filling
what's-
these factor caps out, Ryan, I was looking at that one. I'm like, I'll be nice to Ryan and not give him this one.
Very nice of you.
All right, Ryan, this one's for you. James Robinson finished the season with more fantasy points than Travis Etienne. Currently, J. Rob is RB6, Etienne is RB36. Factor cap.
Honestly, I'm starting to think it's fact. Maybe a week ago I wouldn't have said that. And it's not even because I don't think ETN's going to get more involved. I think it's the fact that the Jaguars are a better team than people are expecting, and they're going to be playing with a few more leads. The game script is going to go towards him. They're getting red zone opportunities, and regardless, he's going to get those red zone opportunities because he's the bigger back and right between tackles better. And I don't know how many more games are playing from behind in Elite Etienne, but I think there's going to be a lot less games like that than we expected originally, and that benefits Robinson.
Yeah, and how amazing has that been with Robinson coming back from that injury?
I love it.
So soon.
It's so good to see.
I love
No
it.
one was buying it, and all of a sudden, they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, this guy actually is pretty good, and he seems to be fully healthy." So that's awesome. All right, last one here, Bruce. I want to get some tight ends here in the mix. So Tyler Higbee and Gerald Everett, former teammates, both playing on different LA teams currently, will both finish as tight end ones this season. Which currently, I think they're both in the top 10 currently.
Yeah, so I went back and forth on this one. As I was looking at the rankings, I just kind of leaned toward fact. I mean, Pitts is stuck in a terrible offense. It's unbelievable what's going on in Atlanta right now. As much as I thought Arthur Smith, who ran a lot of 12 personnel in Tennessee, would be a good fit for Pitts, it just hasn't worked out. Kittle's been out for 2 games, right? He's injured again. Here we go. Maybe he doesn't play in week 3. He seems to always miss 3 to 5 games every year. Schultz is banged up. Fant unfortunately was part of that trade. I think he would have loved to have played with Russell Wilson and got the other side of that. And then you look at Henry, who's not involved as much in New England, and Knox. It's like, what tight ends are going to end up creeping up into that area that's going to knock one of these guys out? They're both in great passing offenses. They both have great offensive coordinators. They both have great quarterback play. And it's kind of like NCAA basketball, right? The guys with the best point guard are the teams I tend to pick in tournaments. I think in football, when you've got an X factor at quarterback and a high passing offense with good offensive coordinators, I think the game scripts and what these 2 teams do offensively allows for Higbee and Everett to finish in that as tight end ones this season.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And Higbee's the one I didn't see coming. Now, Gerald Everett I could have picked to be in the top 12, but Higbee, he kind of disappeared last year after he was sort of hyped up to be that guy, and then he kind of disappeared. But I think he has like 20 some targets in the first 2 games, something like that.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah, targeted like crazy. So
they don't have a real number 2 receiver right now.
Yeah,
because for some reason they hate Allen Robinson.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, it's insane the
wild.
target share that he's getting compared to Allen Robinson right now. It just makes no sense to me. But as a Higbee owner, I love it. All right, No House Advantage is changing the game by offering the most dynamic fantasy sports platform available today. Play pick'em style contests versus other people. It's a shot to win $150,000. Download the app. Use our promo code GF2. We make it pretty easy here. As always, GF2. Get your deposit match up to $25. Choose your contest, select your player props, and earn points to climb the leaderboard and get your shot to win big money. You can test your skills also versus the house or 20 times your entry if you hit all your picks. Bet up to 5 player props, over-unders, and individual matchups across all major sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, PGA, MMA, and NASCAR. Again, our promo code is GF2. Use it at nohouseadvantage.com or get the app for iOS or Android. Get your first deposit match up to $25. All right, let's get into our prop bets of the week.
Going for 2 Live and PlayPickup.com present the Pickup Props of the Week.
All right, if you're just joining us, this is your first show watching this, we do these pickup prop bets in our Discord channel. You can go in there and you can vote on those. We put them up every week, and then we talk about them on the show and go over the results here. So The first prop that we have here is a head-to-head sort of matchup in the same game, Bruce. More receiving yards week 3. Tyreek Hill or Stephon Diggs? Who are you going with in this one?
So I went Stephon Diggs. I think there's a couple things in play here. I think it's Josh Allen versus Tua Tagovailoa. Never bet against Josh Allen. I think we can all hopefully agree with that. But Tyreek Hill doesn't have a great matchup this week with Buffalo. They've given up 149 yards passing through the first 2 games. I've got him at 6 catches for 70 yards. And then I've got Stephon Diggs. Xavier Howard popped up today with a groin injury. You've already got Byron Jones started out on the PUP list. So what was a top 5 secondary coming into this year, I think could struggle this week. And so I've got, him at 7 catches, 85 yards and a touchdown. So it's close. But I think Stephon Diggs wins out in the volume department, so therefore more receptions or more yards.
What about you, Ryan? Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, more yards.
Diggs. Everything he said, plus is the fact he's just super consistent. Like Josh Allen, it's the apple of his eyes, man. Yeah. He targets him. He goes to him often. It doesn't matter the coverage. He knows that man's getting open. He's
phenomenal talent. Phenomenal talent. One of the best route runners in the league to break down. Love watching him play.
Yeah, like Hill's great, but dude, that Allen Diggs connection is special.
Yeah,
agreed. Discord agrees as well. A 65% clip for Stephon Diggs over Tyreek Hill. I thought it would be a little bit different with the because when I put these up here, the Monday night game hadn't happened yet. I thought there'd be a little bit of recency bias towards Tyreek Hill, but then of course Stephon Diggs goes out Monday night and just balls out. So they're with the recency bias. All right, next one here is over under 114.5 total yards for Jonathan Taylor in week 3 here. Ryan, I'll go to you first. 114.5 total yards for Jonathan Taylor.
Under, because they're going to get blown out and not going to be running the ball against KC. And they just haven't been feeding as much as they used to. But the game script is not there for a 115-yard game. If he rushes for that, there's a good chance they could compete in that game. I just don't see that happening.
Mm-hmm. And I think you may have missed my FU in the beginning. I think you were fixing your internet issues, but they gave Jonathan Taylor nine carries that last game. Like, how do you give him 9 carries? This is insane to me.
They should give him 40 against Kansas City, try to keep their offense slowed down.
Yeah.
But I just don't think it's going to happen because they can't slow that offense down. They're going to score and just go away from it.
What about you, Bruce? Are you going under as well?
Yeah, I'm going under as well. I've got Ryan hit on it. 10 points a game for that offense. Negative game script this week. I just, unfortunately, I don't see Jonathan Taylor getting the touches he needs to get there. And KC's given up 89 yards rushing per game. Granted, it was against Arizona and the Chargers, who obviously like to throw the football a little bit. But, yeah, I don't see him getting there as much as I love Jonathan Taylor.
There's also the fact 114.5 is a huge total.
Yeah.
Which, even if he was clicking like last year, I'd be really hesitant to bet that because that's a monster.
That's a big.
If we're like 75,
go ahead.
If we're like 75, I'd consider it. I'd maybe.
I was just going to say on DraftKings, I think the over under is 85.5. So,
and it makes way more sense.
It does, and I'm still a little bit hesitant on that against Kansas City. Like, I don't feel comfortable even with 85. 114 is outlandish.
Discord, I guess they must all own Jonathan Taylor because they're all going over. At a 63% clip, they picked over, but they're probably picking with their heart and not with their head.
Hey, Discord, they're all beautiful people, though.
Yeah, exactly. All right, last one here, and this is 2 older quarterbacks that have been struggling a little bit to start the season here. Rodgers versus Brady, more passing yards week 3. Who are you going with, Ryan? Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady?
Rodgers, because he has better weapons, which is something I didn't think I'd be saying this year at all. Like, he still has those running backs to dump it off to, and he's going to scream them receivers into doing something. Plus, Green Bay has a better defense right now. I like their corners. It's going to be that, but I don't think either's going to be a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those, who sucks the least. Really, I think they're both going to be kind of down a little bit. What about your thoughts there? Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, Bruce?
I've got the same answer. I think it's a low-scoring game. I think that I put down Scotty Miller, Russell Gage, Rashad Perryman, and Cameron Brate and Cade Otton. If those are his weapons going in this game, I expect to see a lot of Fournette, maybe some Rashad White finally get some love this week. I think he's uber talented.
I hope we see that.
I'm still waiting for that game. This could be it. I mean, you just got nobody else to go to. So you think you'd run a little bit more 21 personnel and use Rashad White in the slot a little bit this week. But we'll see what Tampa Bay does. But yeah, I agree with Ryan 100% on that one.
Yeah, when you name those receivers, it sounds like you're naming off an XFL roster. Like, I mean, there's
Right.
a bunch of guys that are like, you're like, who? What? They're the starting receivers right now? Pretty crazy. All right, let's get to our buys and sells.
What you gonna do? Buy or sell?
All right, so I told y'all to bring 2 buys and 2 sells. Your buy can be anything. It could be a struggling player you think is going to take off. It could be a player that is produced well through 2 games, but no one's really sort of buying into it. Maybe you are. So however you want to approach this. So I'll go to you first here, Bruce. Give me one of your buys.
So I put this one down because this has been a big topic the last couple of days. And I know, Ryan, you're in, I think, Bourbon Bowl as well. But Brad from Roto Lounge, he's I love the guy. He's one of my favorite guys. I love what he does at Bourbon Bowl. And it was a great conversation yesterday. So I put down Kyle Pitts as a buy low. And the conversation was buy low or sell high. And it was another guy in Bourbon Bowl, Dan from Fantasy Gods, that was saying buy low. And so there was kind of some fun banter back and forth. And I just think he's far too talented to continue to be a non-factor. And if there's guys that want to give up on Kyle Pitts and you're playing in Dynasty, especially if you're tight end premium, take advantage of it and go buy low on Kyle Pitts, 100%. Yeah. I made a joke about holding, and I think that's where the conversation got a little sideways because I said hold. I mean, obviously, if you have them based on draft capital, especially in Dynasty, unless someone's going to make me a crazy offer, I'm not moving Pitts.
Yeah, that's a good call. And I have him in my Dynasty league, and going into the season, I'm like, oh man, I'm so deep at tight end. I had Pitts and George Kittle, and now I'm looking at my roster like, what the hell? I don't have any tight
That's
ends.
my Scott Fishbowl team. Those are my 2 tight ends I got early, so it's not going well.
Not going well at all. All right, Ryan, give me one of your buys.
This one's near and dear to my heart. It's DJ Moore. Like, I know he's struggling Baker Mayfield, and this offense is questionable, but we've seen DJ Moore produce 1,200-yard seasons, 4 straight years with far more trash quarterbacks than Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
It's going to click. It's just they have to get used to each other. I don't know why he's targeting Robbie Anderson. Maybe they partied together back in the day, but let's be real. DJ Moore's a superior talent, and they got to give him the ball. If they want to compete in games, he's their second best offensive weapon. So they have to give him the ball. I'm making some super low ball offers on him coming up in all formats, whether dynasty or redraft.
That's such a good one. I'm mad I actually didn't think of that one. That's a good one, man. I'm in full support.
The 2 of you took 2 of mine, so I'm having to scramble now for my.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, y'all took
Jeff, I knew it. You talked about him real recently. I'm glad I took it.
Yeah, I thought you might, so I was like, oh, I might have to think of somebody else. So I went with Pitts, and then of course Pitts got taken. So I'm going to go with the tight end we talked about, on my dynasty team as a buy low, Mr. George Kittle. First 2 weeks injured, everybody's kind of down on him because he does always seem to get injured. But the fact of the matter is, when he plays, he's a monster. Jimmy G is back. I know that was another narrative saying that, oh, how's he going to do with Trey Lance? And how's he do with Trey Lance? Well, Trey Lance, unfortunately, is gone for the season now. Jimmy G is back. So if he can get healthy, when he gets healthy, gets back on the field, I think the connection picks up right where it left off. And I think Jimmy G is going to look for Kittle on a number of plays there. We've seen, Kittle put up those 10-catch, 180-yard games before. So I think he can get back to doing that. So George Kittle is my buy right now.
You're going to laugh at this if you guys don't mind real quick.
Go ahead.
So I put literally Jimmy G is back for my second guy, but I went Brandon Ayuk.
There you go.
So when you said Jimmy's back, I'm like, oh my God, it's hysterical. That's exactly what I have down. So there you go.
All right, let's go ahead and go with the next buy here. Let's do another buy here, Bruce, while we're at it.
So that was my other one, was Brandon Ayuk. And simply because, last year started out in the doghouse. I'm an ASU guy, born and raised in Arizona. So I watched him play in college. I liked his athletic profile. I like he's got length. He's a guy that can go up and get the ball and present some yards after the catch. So, and Jimmy G, if you look at what they did the last half of last season, with Brandon Ayuk and Jimmy G, I think you're going to start to see Ayuk be a bigger part of that offense. So I'm trying to buy low on him right now as much as I can.
Agreed. He's definitely one of the guys that are in there as well. And even look what he did the last half of last game. He had a bunch of targets with Jimmy G in there. So I'm on Ayuk's train as well. All right, Ryan, give me one more buy, and then we'll do ourselves.
Jeff, I hope you don't have another one because I'm super cheating on this because it's an all-encompassing answer. It's all first-round running backs. Like any running back who went in the first round, whether it's CMC, Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Austin Eckler, who have all struggled in these first 2 weeks, go make offers for them. You're not going to regret it long run. They'll come around. People are just super upset about it because they expect these top 10 performances, top 5 performances right away. And sometimes it takes time, game script, yada, yada, yada. Just go buy them if you can. Why not? What's the harm in it? Because if you get somebody, they start clicking. Najee Harris, we saw with 350 touches last year. I know the Steelers are struggling. Go buy him. It's going to come around.
Yeah, good one. So I didn't have any more buys, so we'll go ahead and go do our sells now, and I'll take the first sell here. In mine, this is a sell only for redraft. If you have been dynasty, please do not sell this guy. Hold on to him. I think he's going to be a super talent, but it's Jahan Dodson. I think in redraft right now, he's got 10 targets, 3 touchdowns. I don't think that's something that's sustainable. And that offense has got a lot of weapons with Logan Thomas, Terry McLaurin, even Curtis Daniels even started coming out of his shell. Antonio Gibson, they're getting Brian Robinson back. They still got J.D. McKissick. I don't see a way for him to get more targets than that. And that touchdown, percentage is going to go down. He's not going to catch that many touchdowns per 10 targets. So in redraft, sell Jahan Dotson. In dynasty, do not sell Jahan Dotson. Please hold on to him. I think he's going to be an awesome talent. All right, Bruce, what you got for your next sell?
I'm glad you clarified that at the end. Redraft versus dynasty. When you first said Jahan Dotson, I'm like, man, I'll take him off your hands, man. But in redraft, I get it. So I went, and this has been something I've talked to with a buddy of mine that calls me all the time for fantasy advice, and it's kind of a funny home league deal with him and his son. But Najee Harris, I think he's if I can sell him high, there's a lot of people that believe in the talent and the volume play. To me, it's the Zeke Elliott syndrome. High volume, low efficiency. It's a terrible offensive line. It's going to take some, a few years to get it right. And if you look at his pass catching over the last couple of games, he's not being targeted. Again, it's only the first 2 games, but now you got the Liz Frank sprain, which I think is more serious of an injury than you think it is. So if I'm right now, I'm trying to sell Najee Harris for as high as I can. And if I can get good value, I'll take advantage of that all day long.
Yeah, that's true. People are still, they still believe in the talent. Like Ryan just said, first round running backs, go buy him. But if you can get them,
you have to look at the shelf life, especially dynasty wise. That it's not age. It's not age and how old they are shelf life. It's the carries.
So glad
Zeke has the 4th most touches in the NFL, out of any active running back. But he's still only 27. There's guys older than him who have way less carries and way less touches. Yeah. That's what matters because he's right into the ground.
Yep.
Yeah, I did a deal on Twitter not too long ago, and I was talking about his volume. I went back and looked at his high school. There was an article I found that had some high school numbers on Zeke Elliott, and then his college carries, and then his NFL through the first 6 years of his career. The number of carries that guy has had is unbelievable, right? So at his age versus another player at his age that doesn't have nearly the same volume over those years, you can value them a little bit differently. So I love that you said that, man. It's more volume than age for sure.
Good stuff. All right, Ryan, what you got for yourself?
I feel like this one's weird because I feel like he's still going to be good, but I'm selling him just because I think he's inflated now. It's Mike Williams. Mike Williams is good. His long-term numbers will probably be fine. He'll probably be a 1,000-yard receiver and 6 to 8 touchdowns, but he's so inconsistent. We saw a 2-target game, a 10-target game back-to-back. And the thing is, that's not a new thing for him. That's his career in a nutshell. And every time he has these huge games, especially when Keenan Allen's out and he's attached to Herbert, people inflate his value and they want him on their team. He's somebody you can get way more than he's worth. I don't want to sell him because he's a bad player or anything like that. I'm going to sell him because his value is just really good right now. And you can get more than he is.
Yeah, when he's good, he's really, really good. And when he's bad, he's really, really bad. It's like you get the best and the worst in one player. So I agree there. I think after that game we just saw, his value is super high right now. You can probably get a good deal for him. So I only had the one sell, so I'll go back to you, Bruce. You got another sell there for us?
Yeah, I do. And I went back and forth between a couple different guys, but I ended up going Clyde Edwards-Helaire here, CEH. Averaging just 11 touches this year. He's been efficient with those touches, which has been good to see, especially in week 1, what they did with the shovel pass to create some touchdowns there, which is not a play that works often. But if you can catch a defensive front correctly, it can work. But he's going to face tougher competition as the year goes on. You brought in Ronald Jones. You've got drafted Isaiah Pacheco, although the draft capital was towards the back half of the day. I think it was a day 3 draft pick, but you saw what he did in week 1 and later in garbage time. And there's some flashes there for Pacheco. So CEH is a guy, if I can find somebody that's a CEH truther, that was an LSU fan that just believes because he's in that offense. If you remember when he got drafted originally, the 32nd pick, everybody was like, oh my God, it's such a great landing spot for CEH. But
Yep.
now you look at what he did in his first year and what he's done for the first couple of games. I don't think he can keep up the efficiency numbers. So I'm trying to sell Clyde Edwards-Helaire right now if I can get good value for him.
Yeah, it's crazy because that year in rookie drafts, he jumped over Jonathan Taylor. And you look at that now, you're like, man, I would never want to see CEH over Jonathan
It's like,
Taylor.
did you watch film?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
All right, Ryan, give me your last sell.
I don't know if it's the term sell I want to say on him or just pull the red cord and cut. I think we're about to play taps for Adam Thielen's career.
Yeah.
Like, cut your losses. If it's dynasty, you get a 4th round pick, 3rd round pick. It's time to do it, man. He's looking washed. They're going to other people in that offense as the 2nd, 3rd options before him.
Shoot, Johnny Munt's got more targets, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't tell you something.
Yeah, it's brutal. Yeah, I had him as
I think it's time.
Yeah.
I had him on
DraftKings
Sportsbook. I had him on DraftKings Sportsbook as a long shot, anytime touchdown in this last game, thinking, oh, he'll definitely get involved this game, and no, it didn't happen. So It's time to give up on Thielen. All right, let's get to some listener questions. Oh, hit the wrong drop. There we go.
Go ahead. Ask me anything.
All right, so in the respective time here, we'll just kind of flip-flop these between the two of you. I'll go to you first on this one, Ryan, from Ethan G on Discord. He's in a 2-quarterback league, and Trey just went down. Should he roster Joe Flacco or Jimmy G of those 2 quarterbacks? Which one do you want?
This isn't even a question. It's Jimmy G. Like, Joe Flacco is a temporary option until Zach Wilson gets back. It's Jimmy G.
Yeah, I agree. For the
100%.
same reasons you said. 100% agree. This one is from Rebootin' Tag. PPR, would you rather start Deontay Johnson or Rashad Bateman if Pittman doesn't play this week? I think Pittman's going to play, but let's assume he's out. Who are you going with here, Bruce? Johnson or Bateman?
Trubisky versus Lamar Jackson. I'm taking Rashad Bateman.
Yeah.
He's got big playability. He's got home run capability. I'll take Rashad Bateman all day long. Anytime he catches the ball, there's a chance he hits the home run. So
Good stuff. All right, this one is from Savio Castro. Ryan, he wants to know, he just got offered Devontae or Deebo Samuel for Dalvin Cook. He says he currently has Saquon as his other running back, so he's getting Devontae or Deebo and giving up Dalvin. Are you hitting the accept button on that one?
Probably not. The Dalvin Saquon's nice combination, and if he has any semblance of decent receivers, I'm sticking with it. He'll come around. Because we saw 22 touches week 1. Like, in last week was just, again, terrible game scripts. They got just stomped.
Yep.
No running back's going to get a lot of carries and touches like that. But when they're playing in close games, Dalvin's going to get his.
Yeah, I like that one. All right, so this next one is going to be a pretty large trade here, so I'll try to articulate it as best I can for the listeners out there. It's from Chica on Discord. So they are trading for DeAndre Swift, Eno Benjamin, and Garrett Wilson. And they are trading away Austin Eckler, Julio Jones, and Kenneth Gainwell. What do you think, Bruce?
So I don't think we had this one. So go through that again because I didn't see that on the notes. But
so it's DeAndre Swift, Eno Benjamin, and Garrett Wilson. And he's giving away Austin Eckler, Julio Jones, and Kenneth Gainwell.
I go DeAndre Swift side.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
100%.
I think Garrett Wilson has been a beast too, for that matter. So you're getting 2 good players there with Swift and Garrett Wilson.
You're getting wide receiver 1 and RB 1, I think. Yeah. So for sure,
100%.
Yeah,
100%. All right, from Peter Griffin, Ryan. This one is some more trade advice here. He says he will receive Cooper Kupp and Leonard Fournette, and he's trading away Nick Chubb, Mike Williams, and Elijah Moore.
Ooh, this is a good one based on who your sell was.
Yeah, it is, but I'm always lean towards the best player in the trade. And as Nick Chubb, I know Nick Chubb's playing really good this year, but dude, Cooper Kupp's just automatic. I'm starting him
love
every week, no matter what. He's a
love it.
superstar. Like, he's gonna get his. He's locked for 80 and a touchdown almost every week.
Yeah, I think I'm with you as
I'm
well.
with you.
It's a little bit nice because I think the three guys that he would be getting are all potential starters for a team with Nick Chubb, Mike Williams, Elijah Moore. But that Cooper Kupp upside, the production you get from that one player is worth it, because I think, you know, you add two other players to that, you're going to end up being more than the three that he gets for those guys. So yeah, I agree. I think I'm on that side as well.
I think what's interesting there is the Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, right? Because right now you're only seeing Joe Flacco, who tends to favor Garrett Wilson, but you've got Zach Wilson, who liked Elijah Moore last year. So I'm curious to see when Zach Wilson gets back, what that's going to look like. But right
Yeah,
now, it
you're
seems
right.
like Garrett Wilson is the guy, right?
You're exactly right. And where does Corey Davis fall on that? Because right now Corey Davis is actually usable in fantasy too, but is he usable once Zach Wilson gets back?
That's gonna be usable till we roster him.
Yeah, exactly. Until you put him in your lineup, but
Until you start him, he's usable.
Yep, exactly. All right,
this next one here is from
this next one's from Let's Go Irish on Discord. Full PPR, needs a QB. He can pick up Goff as he has a waiver position 1, but he's been offered Kyler Murray and Russell Gage for Devontae Adams. So he's giving up Devontae Adams. So options here: add Goff from the waiver wire, or get Kyler Murray and Russell Gage for Devontae Adams.
So I might take some heat on this one because I know where some people would lean here, but I'm taking, you give me Jared Goff behind a top 5 offensive line and what they're doing offensively for the first 2 weeks with the receiving weapons he has, and DeAndre Swift, with Jameson Williams not even back yet, and I can pair Goff with Devontae Adams, who I think is the best wide receiver in the game. If he's playing in Buffalo with Josh Allen right now, it's a game changer, right? So to me, this is simple. I'm definitely going with the Goff side on this trade.
Yeah, I agree too. And I think one caveat would be, is it one QB? If it's one QB, it's Goff definitely for me. If it's super flex, maybe I would think about the other option, but Goff's been playing really well. I mean, we just talked about Amon-Ra St. Brown a little while ago, and he's put some good fantasy points right now.
I think what's crazy with Kyler Murray is you look at last year when you thought it was because of the injury to the shoulder that he wasn't running as much. But you look at the first 2 games this year, they're still not running really design run plays for a Kyler Murray. So not only do I think he doesn't want to get hit, I don't know that Cliff Kingsbury wants him to get hit either, because what's left after that with Colt McCoy is not pretty. So I just don't like the Kyler Murray. He's not that Konami code guy that we thought he was going to be when he came out.
Agreed. This one here, Ryan. This one is from Matt Davis. I got this one on Twitter. He wants to see, this is a trade. So he was full PPR. He would get T. Higgins and give up CD Lamb. Basically, CD Lamb, T. Higgins. Which one do you prefer?
Oh, real quick.
I
want to apologize real quick about the Zeke stat I gave out. I got him confused with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is 4th in touches and active players in the league. Zeke's second. Mark Ingram's the only person in the NFL with more touches than Zeke.
Wow.
And Zeke has 1,800 touches at age when he was 26 years old. Yeah, 1,983. Sorry, is the number. Yeah, so that's beat up. Out of this trade, I'm still saying CeeDee Lamb. I'm not going away from what that talent is. T. Higgins, he's close with Jamar Chase, but no matter what, the 2 how talented is. Chase should always win that target battle, and they're kind of 1A, 1B. And I think CeeDee Lamb is just, I think he's still a superstar. And I don't know if this is redraft or dynasty, but I'm still leaning Lamb either way.
I think it is redraft, because this is something I talk to a lot on Twitter. He always asks me questions, but it's redraft. I'm curious to yours, Bruce, because I know you're the Cowboys fan here. Are you still leaning CeeDee Lamb, or do you like T. Higgins in this one?
So here's what's tough. I try not to take too much of a deep dive, and I touched on this with the breakdown of the Cowboys and Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore so far in his time with Dallas does not typically scheme for a wide receiver 1 like you see Sean McVay do, and now you're seeing with Kevin O'Connell do with Justin Jefferson. So I had some concerns going this year with CeeDee Lamb, meaning are they going to use condensed formations? Are they going to use him in motion? Are they going to try to create mismatches and create free releases to get him open? And the first game, 11 targets, but only 2 receptions. Now, if you look at the tape on it, he was creating separation, but the throws were either off or the timing wasn't good, right? So it's tough. Like T. Higgins, if I'm talking redraft, the talent that CD Lamb has and the way I think he should be used, and Kellen Moore should be using him in that offense, I agree with Ryan. It should be CD Lamb, but I do have some concerns with how they're the offensive scheme that Kellen Moore is using. He's become less creative the longer he's been an offensive coordinator.
Hmm.
But if you just take talent for talent, it's CD Lamb.
Lamb.
Yeah. Also, if we're looking at targets, CeeDee Lamb, while he's really struggling, he's still ninth in targets
Yeah,
in the league.
Yeah.
He has 10 more targets in 2 games. In 2 games this season, he has 10 more targets than T. Higgins.
Yeah. That's a good point. It's a good point because targets,
great point.
They eventually work out. You get those targets. That's really what you want in fantasy.
I go to talent over situation. I mean, I still go CD Lamb, but man, it's so tough sometimes watching that Cowboys offense. What Kellen Moore's doing.
And that Cincinnati offense is struggling with all them hits, man.
Yeah,
crazy. O-line. Yeah,
they spent all that money on the line. Is worse than it was last year.
70 million is really working out.
Yeah, exactly. Well spent.
Exactly.
All right, let's get to our final segment of the night.
Get ready for goingfor2.com's Forgotten Fantasy Player of the Week.
All right, Bruce, give us your Forgotten Fantasy Player this week.
So I'm totally going to age myself here, but to me, this is fun stuff. So I was trying to think of like some creative way to do something fun here, and I went back to the Kansas City Chiefs, circa 1989. I was 15 years old. Christian Okoye, the Nigerian Nightmare.
Nice.
He had a season with 370 carries. Now you got to understand, this is back before you had tempo, you had no huddle, you had 26 seconds, in terms of pace of play. 370 carries for 1,480 yards and 12 touchdowns in 1989. He only hit 1,000 yards again once in 1991.
Wow.
But if you remember the game Tecmo Bowl,
yes,
and you had Barry Ward and you had a Christian Okoye, you could run. Same thing with Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen if you had the Raiders. So my other one was going to be Bo Jackson if he didn't get hurt. But Christian Okoye was absolutely a monster. You knew he was going to run between the tackles. He wasn't going to go outside zone. It wasn't sexy back then. It wasn't going to go wide zone. He was going to go between the A and the B gap. He was going to maul you, and he's going to run over you. So I went Christian Okoye for some fun and just to go back and reminisce about the old days, man. That offense was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I remember playing Tecmo Bowl, and if you had Bo Jackson, you were trying to avoid tacklers. When you had Christian Okoye, you were trying to run into the tacklers.
Exactly.
Bounce off of him. It was awesome. That's a great one because, we don't get somebody that go back that far. I think you and John Lobb tend to go back pretty
Probably
far.
the oldest guy you've had on here, so that makes sense.
I think it's only the second fullback ever brought up on here. Too.
Yeah.
And I'm the one time.
I was going to go Larry Centers too. So you talk about fullbacks.
The one time left, Jeff let me do it. I did a fullback.
Who did you take?
That's it.
Took,
LaRon McClain.
LaRon McClain, that's right.
Oh. Is the Ravens? If I remember
Yeah,
right.
1 year where he had 1,200 yards.
Yeah.
His only year he ran the ball.
Nice. Good stuff. All right, fellas, that wraps the podcast up. We'll go around the room real quick. Give us your Twitter handle one more time and then plug anything you want to plug. Bruce, we'll go to you first.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Coach Bruce 122, and I would love you guys to go to @YardsPer to check out Project 32, just for the charity purposes, and then check out the Coach Approach podcast, which I will be doing here in about 2 minutes. We do a Wednesday night show at 7, usually 7 p.m. Eastern. Tonight it'll be 7:30 because I want to jump on with you guys. And then we do a Sunday morning. We talk about every single game, so all 16 games for the week. And then breakdown of starts and sits and who we like based on matchups. So we'd love you guys to certainly check that out.
Good stuff. Ryan, we got one last question that just jumped in real quick. I just want to answer this before we get out of here. Ray Gamer wants to know, should I play Cowboys defense versus the Giants on Thursday or the Chiefs defense versus the Colts?
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm leaning Chiefs just because Matt Ryan's kind of turned to a turnover machine a little bit, and they're going to have to throw the ball a lot because I don't think it's going to be a close game.
Fair enough. All right, there you go. Ray, you got your answer. All right, Ryan, what you got?
Find me Twitter, Foss534. Find me here Wednesday night. Then find me over at the Rookie Big Board. Dynasty Big Board podcast comes out Wednesday mornings.
Good stuff. All right, guys. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at JeffLambert77. I want to plug all the shows on the Going for Two Live Network. We have a show, at least one show every single night of the week. We have a Sunday morning show. We got 2 shows on Saturday. We got 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows on Tuesday. So if you haven't checked it out yet, go to goingfor2.com/goingfor2live and check everything out there, guys. For Ryan, for Bruce, good luck this weekend, and we will see y'all next week.
Peace.